If I had known what the groom whispered to me that afternoon would flip my whole family script, I would have braced myself before stepping into that studio. I still remember the sting before I even sat down. My sister, Alana, tilted her head at me the way she does when she's pretending to be sweet, and said, "Girl, maybe just stay toward the back?" The lighting is kind of harsh on features like yours. Features like yours. That's what she said. In front of her fiancé, the photographer, and the tray of pastel macarons she insisted matched her engagement palette. I smelled lavender from the diffuser she brought, and somehow that made the whole thing feel even worse, like the room was trying to calm me down before I embarrassed myself. I blinked at her. Features like mine? She shrugged, real casual. "I'm just saying, the camera picks up everything. And since you don't really photograph soft." That was her way of doing it. The light-skinned sister with the bouncy curls that people compared to Tracy Ellis Ross, calling me not soft. Like softness was something she inherited and I somehow missed during distribution. She said it in that syrupy voice, the one she started using in college when she figured out that if she played the delicate black girl instead of the confident one, people bent over backwards to protect her. Meanwhile, I grew into the role the world shoved at me. The sturdy one, the helper, the one everybody calls when their tire pops, or their feelings get hurt, or they need somebody to hype them up before a job interview. The unofficial strong one. But somehow, even after all that, hearing her say it out loud hit different. The photographer cleared his throat. Her fiancé, Marcus, gave her a look that was quick, but sharp, like he wanted to say something, but didn't. I just swallowed, feeling this thick, embarrassing weight forming at the back of my throat. I straightened the satin wrap I kept around my twist out, because I wasn't about to unpack my whole emotional history in a rented photo studio that smelled like incense and insecurity. "I can leave," I said quietly. "Oh my God, don't be dramatic," she laughed. "Just stand behind me. I want the photos to be perfect." Perfect. Meaning her at the front, glowing, and me fading somewhere behind her shoulder like an unpaid extra. I grabbed my tote and stepped out of the studio before anyone could see my face fall apart. My phone lit up as soon as I hit the sidewalk. It was my cousin Tasha, the one who always claimed she had a sixth sense for family foolishness. Her text popped up bright on the screen. "You coming to Grandma's Sunday?" She said she got something important for the family. And when she says it like that, it's messy. I stared at the message. Grandma always called these little gatherings when she felt like the air in the family was getting funny. She'd say, "Y'all ain't about to let bitterness stick to my walls," and somehow gather everybody for barbecue chicken, potato salad, and unsolicited life lessons. I normally went because she was the only person in our family who looked at me like I wasn't just some utility tool. But after what just happened with Alana, the thought of walking into another room where I had to pretend everything was fine made my stomach tighten. "Still," Grandma asked, and ignoring a black grandma's request is basically writing your own obituary. "I'll come," I texted back. When I got home, my apartment felt unusually quiet. My peace usually lived there, in the soft beige throws, the eucalyptus candle I kept forgetting to blow out, the faint smell of the shea butter I'd rubbed onto my elbows that morning. But that day, the silence felt heavy, like it knew what happened and didn't know how to comfort me. My plant by the window leaned to the left again, begging for water or sunlight or maybe just sympathy. I kicked off my shoes, dropped my bag on the couch, and sat there with my head in my hands. I replayed her words again. Features like yours, like my full nose, my deeper brown skin, my twist out, my whole face offended her engagement aesthetic. My phone buzzed again. This time it was Grandma. "Baby, I want you here Sunday. Don't be late. Wear something nice. And bring that peach cobbler you make that I pretend not to like, but eat half of once you leave." I laughed despite myself. That was her humor, dry, sly, and absolutely listening to every conversation, even when she was pretending to nap. Somehow her message pushed the shame back a little. Not gone, just shifted. Sunday crept up fast. When I walked into Grandma's house, the smell of ribs, baked beans, and peach cobbler rolled over me like a warm blanket. Aunties were lined up along the counter pretending not to talk about each other's outfits, while uncles surrounded the grill like it required top-secret clearance. Little cousins darted around, sticky with Capri Sun and pure chaos. I spotted my mother and Alana near the dining table. My mother looked me over with that subtle scanning eye she used, the one that always found the things she wished I'd done differently. "Oh," she said, "you were that." A greeting would have been nice, but I guess my existence didn't need confirmation today. Alana was in full bride mode, posing even when nobody had a camera. She wore this cream dress that whispered softness and fragility, her signature aesthetic. She gave me a tight smile. "Hey sis," she said like we just talked about nail colors, not my supposedly harsh features. I didn't bother matching her energy. Grandma called everyone to the living room. "Come on in here before the food gets cold. And close that door. Y'all letting all the air out like y'all got stock in the electric company." People shuffled in with plates, jokes, and that predictable cousin commentary that somehow felt like home. When everybody settled, Grandma looked around the room with that wise, slightly intimidating calm she had. "I need to say something," she began. You could hear an auntie bite into a chip somewhere in the back. I swear black aunties have a talent for munching loudly at the exact wrong time and making it somehow funnier. "This family," Grandma continued, "has been acting strange lately. Whispering, competing, forgetting who raised them." Her eyes, sharp as ever, moved from face to face. When they landed on me, I felt a soft kind of warmth, almost like apology. "And some of y'all," she said, "have been disrespecting people you should be appreciating." Alana shifted. My mother's lips tightened. Before I could even process the fact that Grandma was low-key calling them out, Marcus, the groom, stepped beside me. I didn't even notice he'd walked over. The whole room seemed to pause when he cleared his throat. "Can I talk to you privately?" he murmured. The way the aunties' heads snapped in our direction. Lord, if the FBI ever needs new recruits, they should start with black aunties at family gatherings. Nothing gets past them. One raised her eyebrow so high it nearly left her face. I followed him to the back porch. The screen door creaked behind us, and the sound of kids yelling in the yard filled the silence. He looked uncomfortable, nervous even. And that alone confused me, because Marcus was usually the composed type, the kind of man you could picture fixing a sink while wearing a button-down shirt and somehow not getting it wrinkled. "Look," he began, rubbing the back of his neck. "I need to apologize for what Alana said at the shoot." I shrugged. "It's fine. It's not. And that's not why I pulled you aside." My breath caught a little. He looked me directly in the eyes then, and something in his expression shifted from apology to concern. "I don't know how to say this without sounding messy," he said quietly, "but there are some things you need to know before this wedding happens. Things about your sister. Things about how she talks about you. And about why she treats you the way she does." A small thud echoed from the door. Somebody pretending they weren't listening, but absolutely listening. Marcus lowered his voice even more. "And there's something else. Your grandmother asked me to talk to you before she talks to the rest of the family today." My heart dropped straight into my stomach. "Why?" I whispered. He hesitated, then said, "Because it concerns you. More than anyone else in that house." The backdrop of kids screaming, an uncle cussing at the grill, and aunties laughing felt suddenly distant. It was just the two of us in a bubble of tension I couldn't make sense of. He glanced back through the screen door to check if anyone was watching. Which, of course, they were, because this was a black family gathering and privacy is a myth. But he stepped closer anyway. "Your grandmother, she made some decisions recently," he said. "Big ones. And she wanted you prepared before she makes the announcement." "What decisions?" I asked. He opened his mouth, then stopped. "It's not my place to say all of it. But I'll say this. She's not blind to how people treat you. And she's not about to let it slide." A cold shiver rolled through me. Not fear, more like a deep, confusing anticipation. Then he added, "And as for your sister's comments about your looks, you should know the real reason she says those things. It's not because she believes them." I frowned. "Then why say it?" He looked at me with a seriousness that made my chest tighten. "Because she sees something in you she's scared of." Me? Scary? I could barely hold myself together that morning. Scared of what? He exhaled long and heavy. "That part she'll never admit. But you're going to understand once you hear what your grandmother has to say." Before I could ask another question, The screen door cracked open and Grandma poked her head out. "Baby, come on back in," she said to me. "It's time." Marcus stepped aside, letting me pass through the doorway first. As I walked back into the living room, every conversation seemed to hush. I shifted. Whispers started creeping around the edges of the room like smoke. And for the first time in my life, the attention didn't make me shrink. It made me stand a little straighter. Because whatever was coming, whatever Grandma was holding, whatever secret had my sister so desperate to dim me, it was finally about to come into the light. And none of them were ready for it. I should have known from the way Grandma folded her hands that the truth sitting in her lap wasn't small at all. I walked back into the living room, the whole house humming with that mix of suspicion and nosy curiosity that only a black family can brew. Cousins leaned forward. Aunties settled deeper into their chairs like they paid for front row seats. Even my mother straightened her back, smoothing her blouse like respectability might shield her from whatever was coming. And Alana, my sister, looked uneasy for the first time all day. She kept touching her curls, adjusting her earrings, glancing at Marcus like she wished he'd say something to stop the moment from moving forward. But the thing about Grandma, once she decides something, we're all just living in the world where she already made up her mind. She gestured for everyone to quiet down. "I've been thinking," she said, voice calm, steady. "And y'all know when I start thinking, something gone shift." A few people laughed nervously. One uncle coughed like he was trying to swallow a secret. Grandma looked at me again, and my heart felt too big for my body. "This concerns our family legacy," she said, "and the future of this house." Now the auntie's neck snapped toward her so fast, I'm sure somebody pulled something. A family house announcement is basically the Super Bowl for black family drama. Grandma continued, "I'm not getting younger, and I don't want confusion when I'm gone. So I've made arrangements." My mother blinked. "What arrangements?" Grandma ignored her tone. "I met with my lawyer last month." A hush fell, so thick you could hear the kids outside stop mid-scream. "I've decided where the house, the land behind it, and what money I have saved will go." My sister actually smiled then. She tried to hide it, but it peeked right out like arrogance slipping its head around the corner. Of course she thought it would be her. She'd been the golden one, the delicate one, the bragged about one, the one whose pictures Mama taped to the refrigerator even when she wasn't living here anymore. And me, I was the one who came over to fix the gutter, replace light bulbs, make sure Grandma took her medication when Mama didn't want to get on the freeway if the traffic looked bad. Grandma clasped her fingers. "Everything I own," she said, pausing for a long, meaningful second, "is going to my granddaughter, Maya." My full name sounded too loud in that room. My mother gasped like she'd been physically struck. Alana choked on her own breath. The cousins whispered so fast it sounded like bees. I froze, completely, still as a statue. Because even though I loved my grandmother more than anybody in that house, I never, not even once, imagined she'd choose me over Alana. My mother finally found her voice. "Mama, why would you do that? You know how hard Alana has worked. She's planning a wedding. She's building a future." Auntie Rochelle mumbled. "And Maya got a future too, don't she?" under her breath, loud enough for everyone to hear. Black aunties love messy commentary, disguised as moral support. Grandma sat a little straighter, her eyes turning from warm to steel. I chose based on character, not convenience, not beauty, not who knows how to cry at the right time. Another long look at Alana. My sister flushed deep pink. "Grandma, that's not fair. I've always been there for you." Grandma gave her that slow, unimpressed blink. "Baby, you show up for pictures and applause. Maya shows up when nobody's looking." The words hit the room like a small earthquake. I wanted to shrink and swell at the same time. I didn't even know where to rest my hands. My fingers shook too much. My mother turned sharply toward me. "Did you know about this?" Her tone was sharp like I'd stolen something. "No," I said quietly. "I didn't." Marcus stepped forward just a bit, like he was sliding into a protective stance. "She didn't." "I did." All the aunties whispered "mm," like an episode of some family reality series had just started filming. My sister snapped. "Why would you know anything about our grandmother's will?" Marcus didn't flinch, because she asked me for advice. She wanted to make sure Maya had someone to talk to before the decision was announced. My mother's eyes widened in offense. So you went behind our backs? No, he said calmly. She went behind yours. I'm just the messenger. The way the aunties sucked their teeth? I swear the air pressure changed. Grandma raised her hand, commanding the room back to silence. There's something else I need to say. Everyone leaned forward. Even the grill smoke seemed to pause. Alana's eyes glistened. That's not true. Marcus looked at her softly. It is. My stomach dropped again, because his tone carried history, conversations, confessions he'd heard when I wasn't around. My sister stared at him, stunned. You're taking her side now. I'm taking the side of truth, he said. And the truth is the way you talk about your sister is cruel. I didn't know what to do with my hands again. I just stared at the carpet pattern, trying to breathe normally. Grandma continued. I know you and your mama think people love you because of how you look. But looks fade. Character stays. And I'm not leaving my home to someone whose heart I can't trust. My mother shook her head slowly, disbelief all over her face. Mama, you're punishing her for being confident. No, Grandma said. I'm protecting Maya for being treated like she ain't enough for too long. Silence. Thick, heavy, revealing. Then Grandma turned toward me, her eyes softening. Baby, you're inheriting this house and the land behind it. But don't let it weigh on your spirit. It's not a burden. It's a recognition. My throat tightened. I don't know what to say. You don't have to say anything right now, she replied. Just stand firm in knowing you're worthy. Always have been. A moment passed that felt sacred. Then, predictably, one of the younger cousins yelled from the kitchen. So, does that mean we can eat now, or... Everybody laughed, because of course that's what would break the tension. Food always saves us. But even as the room transitioned back into noise, plates clattering, aunties debating seasoning techniques, uncles complaining about the grill like they were competing for funniest complaint of the year, I felt all the tension in my body still wound tight. Because my sister didn't move. She didn't grab a plate or talk to cousins. She just stared at me. Later, when the crowd thinned and most folks were outside or cleaning up, she approached me by the hallway where Grandma kept her old family photos. Her voice was low. So, what you think you deserve all this? I looked at her. Really looked at her. The perfectly laid curls, the soft dress, the trembling lip. She wasn't angry. She was scared. I didn't ask for it, I said. And I didn't know. She shook her head. You always get rewarded for things I have to work 10 times harder for. That stung me so much I almost laughed. You think I'm rewarded? Yes, she whispered. Because you don't have to try to be strong. People just see you that way. I have to fight to be taken seriously. I have to prove I'm more than just pretty. And when I try to soften you up or fix you, it's because I envy how grounded you are. I felt the breath leave my lungs. She looked down. You think I insult you because I hate you. But I say those things because I hate how insecure I feel next to you. I didn't expect that. Not even close. Before I could respond, Marcus stepped behind her. His voice was gentle. This is what I was trying to tell you at the studio. She's not criticizing your looks because she thinks you're less beautiful. She's criticizing you because she thinks you don't realize how much you have. And she doesn't know how to handle that. My sister didn't look at him. Or me. She just whispered, I don't want to lose everything. And for the first time, I understood the truth sitting underneath all her softness. Softness was never her problem. It was her shield. And mine had always been strength, even when I was exhausted from wearing it. I exhaled slowly. You're not losing everything. But you're not entitled to everything either. She winced. But she didn't argue. Later that night, when everyone left, I stayed behind to help Grandma wash dishes. She hummed an old gospel tune, the one she always hummed when she was at peace. You all right, baby? She asked. I nodded, just overwhelmed. I know. She handed me a towel. But sometimes God makes the quiet ones loud in the right moment. I smiled. You sound like you've been waiting to say that. I have. She leaned against the counter. You remind me of your great-grandmother. She carried more than she should have, but she never lost herself. I looked at her, feeling the weight and blessing of lineage settle onto my shoulders. Thank you, I whispered, for trusting me. She cupped my cheek. Maya, you were always the one who saw people. Not how they looked, not how they talked. Who they were. That's why I chose you. A home should be held by someone who understands hearts. When I got home that night, I sat on my couch again, the same spot where I once felt small and hurt and unsure. But something in me had shifted. My quiet apartment no longer felt heavy. It felt full. I rubbed shea butter into my hands, wrapped my hair in my satin scarf, and let out a deep breath. My sister's words still echoed, but they didn't bruise me anymore. My grandmother's words echoed louder. And Marcus's final message, before he left with Alana, echoed too. He pulled me aside one last time and whispered, "Don't dim yourself to keep the peace. People who love you will rise to meet your light." 3 days later, Grandma's lawyer called to confirm the paperwork. My name, my inheritance, my future. And as I sat there listening to him explain next steps, I realized something. The whole time my sister tried to shrink me, someone else was quietly building a foundation beneath my feet. And now I finally had room, real, physical, emotional room to stand tall. The house, the land, the legacy. It wasn't revenge. It was recognition. And for the first time in my life, I felt seen. Truly, deeply, permanently seen.